Hey guys, so I was not wrong. The person who did the financial flows analysis was super interesting. I'm excited to get to that, but first there was one other witness who, I was late for this, I only caught the end of her. I think her name was something like Alicia Katz, and she worked for FTX for 6 months, and I guess she was involved in like some of the communications and like helping to write some of the times that SBF testified and stuff like that. But as far as I understand, so first of all, it was very clear she didn't want to be there. She was speaking super softly, like almost like kind of mumbling and just like really lackluster, like just this attitude of like, I don't want to do this, I don't want to answer your questions. And I guess she only worked there during this short time, and a lot of the documents that they showed her and had her kind of read, just probably to get on the record that he had said certain statements to Congress or whatever, were actually even before she worked there. So potentially maybe it's that they couldn't get the witness they wanted. Okay, so now I'm going to get to the blockchain analytics and sorry, financial flows analysis person. I guess he's like an accounting professor at University of Notre Dame. His name is Peter Easton. And essentially he just showed over and over again that like FTX basically did not have the money, even as early as January 2021, FTX was borrowing from customer funds, essentially. So first of all, he talked about how, like, for part of his analysis, he, looked at bank accounts, but then also he looked at crypto that was on FTX's, on FTX addresses on these different blockchains for BNB, BTC, ETH, Link, Litecoin, Matic, USD, USDP, and Zcash. Hilariously, throughout his presentation, every time he talked about Ether, he showed the logo for Ethereum Classic, which I thought was hilarious. It's just the same logo, just a different color. But anyway, I just thought that was so funny. Okay, so some of the conclusions, I didn't get to write all these down, but he wrote, the amount of customer deposits held in Alameda and FTX bank accounts was far less than what was owed to FTX customers. Alameda Research used customer fiat deposits to pay for expenses. The amount held in FTX hot and cold wallets was far less than what was owed, etc. So, okay, hold on. I'm going to try to do, 1 second. All right. Oh, wait. Oh, no. I guess, okay, sorry. I was going to try to switch the camera, but I realized I can't do that without just stopping the video. So, and I'm worried if I just try to turn it, then you might not actually see what I want you to see. Okay, so at the time of the collapse, it was a difference of $8.8 billion between what FTX had and what it owed to customers. And there was a point in June 2022, I guess, when it was potentially a little bit bigger. And he said that what should have been the account was $11.38 billion, but what was actually in the accounts was $2.3 billion. And then at that point, we went to just kind of an overview of like, the ways that it was spent and stuff like that. And then he was asked, was any of the customer money spent? And then he goes, oh, yes. And he said 4 big ways: investment in business and financial investments, or that's probably like VC, political, charitable donations, and real estate. So then we started going through like a bunch of the different investments, and it showed, like the modulo capital investments. Those all happened like, I guess, from June until September of 2022. And he showed the flows of it through the bank accounts and showed, messages like where Sam or different people were approving these payments. Same with a payment to Genesis Digital Assets, which was that was like basically, in February of 2022. And then another one, that was for $550 million. So altogether it was, I guess, anyway, I'll have to give you the numbers in the final pod that we produce later, because it's really hard to do this on the fly. So Skybridge Capital was another one, 45 million, Dave Inc. So all of these, he kept showing like, oh, this is money going through Alameda's bank accounts, and that money that's coming through Alameda's bank accounts is coming from customer funds. For some of them, it was like different percentages was customer funds, but anyway, so then he also showed like K5 Global, like right before the payment was made, a huge payment was put into Alameda's bank account, and it was 765 million that was transferred in. About 127 million of other funds was transferred in, and then eventually they paid 300 million to K5. For Anthropic, it was like 147 million in customer funds, and then other was like 469 million in customer funds was transferred into Alameda bank accounts, and then 115 of other to make the $500 million investment in Anthropic. Similar thing with Robinhood shares. Again, like the vast majority was from customer funds. There was the rest from other. That one was a little bit more interesting because they also did a thing where they like moved the money to this new entity that was created by Gary and Sam called Emergent Fidelity Technologies, and then the money was routed back to Alameda, and then the shares were transferred back to Emergent Fidelity. And then he walked through, again, political donations. So there was one to GMI PAC, and this one was moved through Ryan Salem's account. But again, they showed that $11 million was moved into the North Dimension Silvergate account. 0.2 million was moved from other, and then 5.5 million went to Ryan Salem, and then he made a $500,000 contribution to GMI. The next one, this one was probably the most interesting of all the political, because they had a message from Barbara Fried to Sam Bankman-Fried. Barbara Fried is his mother, and she has a PAC called Mind the Gap, and her message said, since this is going to our 527 and hence is disclosed, I'm assuming Nishad would be the best person to have his name on it. And then SBF says that he approves of that transaction. And here, the link was like a little bit harder because it was only a $1 million transaction, and in the days before they made it, I guess something like 6.9. Wait, is this right? 1.9 billion dollars was moved into Alameda's accounts, and then the other was like 455 million. So 1 million against those amounts of money is like too small. But as you can see, the $2 billion of customer money versus the 455 million of others, outweighs. So then the next one was also the charitable donation made to Gabe Bankman-Fried's, the brothers, nonprofit called GAP, and all of that customer money, all of that funding came from customer money. And then after that, FTX Foundation also, their entire donation was made of customer funds. So then we went to the real estate, and they pulled up this list of like a whole bunch of real estate that was purchased in late 2021. And it looks like, let's see, I think 150 million, of customer funds went to Alameda accounts. Then the 100 million of that was transferred to this Bahamian entity called FTX Digital Markets, which he made the point of saying, like, this account should never hold customer money. That's what he said. And yet 100% of customer funds were put into that account and then used to purchase real estate, including, by the way, the Orchid Penthouse. And then the next batch of real estate, I guess, was purchased with investor funds, meaning like VC money, or at least, some portion of it. Because it looks like in the days before that was purchased, $1.5 million of other money also got moved into that account. But anyway, again, it got, some part of it was customer money, which got moved to that FTX Digital Markets Fidelity Bank account, like, again, that he said should never have customer money, and was used to purchase different things like his Gemini apartment, and I guess 4 other apartments. The last property on there was this one called Old Fort Bay, and the price on that was $16.4 million plus another $1.64 million in VAT. And on the deed, the owners are Alan Joseph Bankman and Barbara Fried. So that's his parents. Then he pulled up like a pie chart, basically saying that this, at first it was just a circle. He said this circle should represent the $11.3 billion that are owed to customers. And he showed just like a little piece of it, sort of Pac-Man style, like if you imagine the mouth on Pac-Man. And he said that was the amount that they actually had on hand to give back to customers. It was $2.3 billion of that $11.3 billion that they owed. And then it just like literally pie chart style, had all the slices, and then showed like, oh, okay, 1.2 billion went to Genesis, and K5 got 600 million, and Anthropic had 500 million, et cetera, et cetera. And just went through this whole list of like the biggest slices of the pie chart. And he said one of the slices was listed as outflows for insiders, and he said that those were money that was paid to the inner circle. Expenses was something like, he said, equipment, salaries, rentals, and then there was one huge bucket of 3.1 billion called other, and he said a lot of other was just investment in crypto. Then the last bit was actually, analysis of actual crypto, and he talked about how basically on FTX, like if a user put money in, like from their Bitcoin, like from their wallet, it would go to their unique user deposit wallet inside FTX, but then it would all get pooled in something called the FTX sweep wallet. So essentially if you deposited 100 BTC, then eventually it would end up in this one wallet that pooled all the user funds. And then he created these like graphics. I guess I will try to show this to you. Does that work? Can you guys see? It's hard for me to capture that. But anyway, you can see. So the top line there is supposed to be FTX customer balances of their crypto. And yeah, I was drawing really fast, so the lines like don't match obviously exactly, but even like the bottom line is running into the zero line, but it shouldn't be because it was a little bit above. But the bottom line is the total amount that they actually had in their crypto wallet. So you can see even from, so on the what is that? On the left-hand side of the x-axis, that would be January 2021. All of his charts started at January 2021. So as you can see, like even before then, there was a gap, meaning like even as far back as January of 2021, like far before the crisis in 2022, there was an amount that they owed to customers that they did not keep in their wallets, that they did not have, and he said that on October 31st of 2022, the difference between what they owed customers and what they actually had was $10.3 billion. He said there should have been 11.4 billion, but there was only 1.1 billion. Then they did an analysis of the allow negative accounts on FTX, and again, like showed just how in the red these accounts were. So I'm going to try to do this again. So, all right, here is, can you guys see that? I can't, so hard to, it's so hard to look at the screen and actually also show you there. So, no, am I doing that? There. So this is like, as you can see, the line is at the top. So the line at the top is 0. And then, as you can see, the line just keeps going down and down and down and down. And that is their negative balance. And the discrepancy as of January 21st started at around $2 billion. And then, it just never became whole and just kept going further down. And then he showed like what this money was spent on. So about $1.2 billion of customer funds was spent on the buyback from Binance, where they purchased their equity back. And he pointed out that like that made that account go from, I guess with the account became negative 1.8 billion, I guess, after that transaction. Then he also showed like the spending to repay lenders. And here's another. So this is, I think this is like a negative thing, but it's shown in the positive because he was eventually trying to show, because he was going to do a comparison against the lenders. So I'll try to show this again. Can you guys see that? Oh, it's too hard. It's so hard for me to see how to show this to you. Okay, so anyway, he kind of like had little, events where he was like, oh, this is where they repaid this loan and this is where they repaid that loan. But at the same time they were repaying the loans in summer 2022, they were also taking more loans. Wow, this video is getting really long, so I'm just going to go really fast. Then the last thing is just he showed them repaying, Genesis and BlockFi and Voyager and Celsius and Maple, Anchorage, Nexo, TrueFi, Ledin, like all these ones. And like for a whole bunch of them, 100% of that money came from customer funds. I kept thinking like, oh my gosh, like what does this mean for clawbacks from all these different crypto companies? And then, yeah, I think like 68% of the payments to the lenders came from customer funds. So, and then the last bit is that he refuted the notion that Alameda went negative for any kind of borrowing for spot margin, and he showed that the amount that they would have needed for spot margin was a lot lower than what they actually took out. I'm going to try to show this to you. Oh my god, this is really hard. So it's the bottom one here. How do I... Okay, so the top line is like what they actually took out, and the bottom line is what they would have needed for spot margin. So anyway, that's the wrap, and sorry this is so long, but yeah, it was really fun. I thought actually people tended to really like it. It was very concrete and really easy to see. So, all right, it's a lunchtime update from the courtroom.